We're going to begin by taking an inhale, circling the arms up towards the ceiling and placing the palms together and drawing them down towards your heart. And then begin to tuck your chin to your chest and roll down vertebrae by vertebrae through your spine, keeping the knees nice and bent. Release anything through the neck and head, and then slowly take an inhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll up through your spine. Once you get there, the head is the last thing to lift. Circle the arms up together and then open the elbows wide, opening the chest. Inhale the arms back up and then exhale, release the arms down by the sides. We're going to do that again. Tuck the chin, roll down vertebrae by vertebrae, taking as much time as you need to, keeping the knees bent. Take a pause when you get there, and then inhale vertebrae by vertebrae up through your spine, stacking each on top of one another. The head is the last thing to lift. When you get there, take an inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, open the elbows wide, opening the chest. Inhale back up, and then exhale, release the arms down by the sides. One more time, tucking the chin. Vertebrae by vertebrae, we roll down through the spine, hanging like a rag doll, releasing anything through the neck, the shoulders. And place both hands to the mat and step back into plank pose for a brief moment. And then exhale, downward facing dog. And I want you to bend, pedal out your feet here, moving them through the feet, just to ease out any sensation through the calf and the hamstring. Allowing the spine to lengthen, the tailbone to go high, pressing evenly through the hands, and then walk the hands back to meet your feet. Hang in a forward fold here, keeping the knees nice and bent, allowing the stomach to completely lay over your thighs. And then interlace the hands behind the base of the head and just hang here, releasing anything through the neck, upper shoulders, back, breathing nice and deeply. And then slowly release out of that, walking your hands forward, coming into plank pose, and slowly lower your bending your knees towards the mat and lowering all the way down towards the mat. Untuck the toes, press the tops of the toes firmly into the mat as you come over into cobra. Exhale, lower down, inhale, press through the hands, come up through cobra. Exhale, release down. One more time, inhale up, open across the chest. Exhale, we release down. And then here you're going to shuffle your arms forward, so your forearms a little bit further forward now. We're creating a right angle here with your forearm and your shoulder, so you can see it's like a 90-degree angle. And you're going to breathe here in Sphinx pose, pressing the tops of the feet firmly into the mat, allowing that tailbone to really lengthen as you open up across the chest, the back, space between your shoulder blades, and breathing. If you're at a desk, most of the time or driving, this will feel good. It'll also feel really good after tennis. Take at least 5 breaths and then slowly come out of that. You're going to press yourself back up into tabletop position, tuck your toes, lift your hips and come into downward facing dog. Making sure your weight is nice and even between the hands and the feet. And again, we're going to pedal out the feet and knees here, just taking any movements that you need, bending through your knees, to release anything out. And then slowly extend the right leg up towards the ceiling, turn it out from deep within the hip socket and bend the knee. Circle the ankle, take any movements that you need to. And then inhale, step that foot forward, lowering down to a low lunge. Taking a breath here as you stand upright. Taking an inhale, and exhale, and slowly just pulsing, shifting your weight forward and back. I've kept the toes of the back leg tucked under to give you a bit more support, and it's a little less intense, but it's also stretching through your foot too, which can feel really good right now. So we lower that foot down and come into a deeper lunge. So we're focusing here on the hip flexor, the psoas. Try and release any tension through your upper body, your shoulders. Just relax the face and breathe. We're pausing here. And so you tuck the toes of the back leg back under and come up into a high lunge. You might want to shift your feet a little bit too, and then as you come up into inhaling into crescent pose. So shifting your feet here just gives you a little bit more balance. And then you're going to bend through the knee and straighten the front leg. So as you inhale, you bend, and as you exhale, you come up to a straight. So inhale, exhale, straighten. I'm just going to go through here. So the dynamic movement, meaning needing a lot of control. We're going to do it 3 times, and then we're coming up into crescent pose, and you're going to hold it here. Picking a point in front of you to softly gaze at, really pressing firmly through that back heel, drawing the tailbone down towards the floor. After your 3rd breath, lower the hands down to meet the mat, and come into plank pose, lower down into version of chaturanga here, lowering the knees. Inhale into cobra, and then exhale, press up to tabletop. Exhale into downward facing dog. And then we're going to repeat that on the other side. So lift the left leg this time, bend the knees, circle the ankle, doing movements that feel good, opening up that hip. And then you're slowly going to draw that knee towards the chest and shoulder all the way through and to meet the hands. And you're going to come upright, keeping the toes of the back head still tucked under. I'm going to take some moments here of moving your weight forward and back, bending further into the knee, but making sure that that knee, the front knee, is not going over the foot. Notice how I'm still keeping it in line with the ankle. It's not overshooting, or protecting your knees in this. And then place the hands to either side of that front foot as you come into the low lunge here. So you untuck the back foot. Tops of that foot is now pressing into the mat, and you're breathing. As you hold here, we're just taking a moment to breathe, releasing out anything through that hip flexor, relaxing the face, the upper body completely. And then so you tuck the toes, come up into that high lunge. So you shift your weight so it's even between both feet, and inhale up into crescent pose. And then place the hands by the hips, and we're going to do the same thing as we did on the side, so bending the knees and then straightening both legs. So we bend and then we straighten, and we're lifting the kneecap with that front leg by engaging the quadricep. 3 here, and then we hold crescent pose. So we press firmly through that back heel. Inhale, lifting the arms up towards the ceiling, picking a point in front of you to softly gaze at, and breathe. Hold here, lengthening both sides of the torso evenly as you bend into that front knee, working it towards a 90-degree angle. Then place the hands down by the mat. Come into plank pose and flow through that vinyasa, lowering the knees down towards the mat. Coming up into cobra as you inhale, exhale, lower down. Inhale up into tabletop position, then tuck your toes, lift your hips, and come into downward facing dog again. Taking some moments to breathe here, really lengthening that tailbone towards the corner of the ceiling, pressing firmly through the hands and the feet evenly, lengthening that spine. And then slowly look to the front of the mat, step your feet towards your hands. Take an inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, release down. Make a couple of shoulder rolls here, keeping the bend in the knee, and then inhale, reach those arms up towards the ceiling. Place the hands together, draw them down towards your heart. And then from here, draw the right foot in towards your seat muscle, so you're coming into a quadricep stretch as you stand here. So press firmly through the supporting legs, keep your balance. Place one hand on your hip, focus in a point in front of you, and just breathe. I want you to hold this for at least 3 breaths, allowing any stretch to occur in the hip and the psoas, releasing any tension. Shake out that leg, and then go on to the other side, drawing that foot in towards the seat muscle. Really focusing on the quad and the hip flexor. And then relax the face and the mind as you just breathe and send all of your attention to the quad, releasing out any tension there. And shake out both legs. Place the feet wider than the hip distance apart, making sure the toes are facing forward. Take an inhale, circle the arms up, interlace the fingers and take a stretch. And then exhale, hinge forward, come into a forward fold here. Move your feet wider than your hips, getting into another forward fold. And then bend one knee, straighten the other, and then bend the other, straighten the other. So we're just doing a little bit of a dynamic stretch here before holding the hamstring stretch. It's a little bit nicer, and then just going straight into the hamstrings. So hold here and forward fold, hands touching the mat for at least 3 breaths. And then slowly walk the hands a little bit forward, and then slowly move your feet together, keeping them turned out this time. Drop your seat bone down and come into malasana pose. Knees going out wide, elbows touching the knees as you press the palms together, opening up across the chest, the inner groin, the outer hips. It's going to be super intense, especially after tennis, so be kind to yourself. If anything hurts, you don't do it. You listen to your body and slowly get out of the pose. Once you've taken at least 3 breaths, if it's okay today, come into a forward fold here, just releasing out the head and the neck, hanging like a rag doll for a moment, and then slowly keeping the bend of the knee, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll up through the spine, allowing the head to be the last thing to lift. Take a shoulder roll, readjust yourself, and then come to the top of your mat. Take an inhale, circle the arms up, and just exhale, release them. And then your next inhale, drop your sit bone, bend your knees, come into chair pose. Then reach the hands forward towards the front of the room as you lower your bending inch by inch until the tailbone touches the mat, and then come up into boat pose for a second, and then slowly roll down onto your back. Drawing the knees in towards your chest, giving yourself a nice big squeeze, rocking from side to side if that feels good. Otherwise, you can stay completely still. Just breathing into releasing anything through the low back, anything, the muscles around the pelvis, softening the face. And then reach the hands out towards the side of the room, keeping the knees together. Just twist your lower body over to one side, turning your gaze towards the opposite side. And this supine twist here, releasing anything through the side body, through the spine. Hold and breathe. Just notice the inhale and the exhale of the belly. And then slowly come back up to center. Give yourself a squeeze just to even out the pelvis. Rock from side to side, massage out the lower spine for a moment. And then extend the arms back out and drop the knees over towards the other side. Coming into the opposite side of the supine twist. Again, trying to release any mind chatter, any thoughts. And just breathing here. So you come back to center, give yourself a nice big squeeze again, release anything out, and then rock and roll through the spine until you come up to a seated position. I'm going to cross-legged position to start with. And in fact, actually, we're going to go straight into double pigeon. This can be really intense, so I don't advise it if you on a normal double pigeon doer. Instead, you can do another hip opener whilst we do this one, but I think you can handle it if you're watching this video, but we'll still see. So because the right knee on top of the right thigh, take an inhale and then exhale, forward fold over the legs. If you want to put a block underneath your head, feel free to do that. Yogi's choice today. But you're holding this for at least a minute. So, breathe. You can readjust if there's any uncomfort for a moment, but then go back straight into it. Really releasing anything you need. And then slowly ease yourself out of that pose. Uncrossing the legs. Just say the legs out in front of you for a moment and give them a shake, placing the hands behind you just to ease out anything through your hips and your legs. And then we're going to come onto the other side. So this time we're crossing the left ankle on top of the right thigh, drawing the knee down towards the floor, taking a moment here, upright. And then take an inhale, lengthen the arms up overhead. And then exhale, walk your hands and fold your body forward. Just breathing into the intensity without any force, without any comment, without any judgment. You just breathe, noticing what is now. I'd like you to hold this for at least a minute. So if you want to click pause, do that. And then slowly release out of this side. Take it slowly as you come out. Extend the legs in front of you, give them a shake once more. And then come into a cross-legged position. Finding the tailbone, reaching it down towards the mat. And you just extend the right arm in front of you. Hold of the fingers and just draw them backwards as you open up along the wrist, the forearm, the shoulder. And then slowly place that hand down in towards the mat, into the mat or the floor in front of you as it gets into a little bit deeper stretch. And then we're going to change onto the other side, but this time just pressing that hand in towards the floor to start with, breathing into stretching the wrist and the forearm. So really just shifting your weight into it, and then extend that arm in front of you. Pull the fingers back as you open up. Really nice. And then take a couple of rolls, one way with your hands, releasing out the wrists even further. And then slowly extend the arms towards the sides of the room and hold them here. So you can make fists for a moment and then spread the fingers wide as if you're pressing balls away from you. As if they're closing in on you, but you're pressing them away. Here as we just hold the pose, closing your eyes if you like, breathing, just releasing any tension. And then slowly take a couple of shoulder rolls. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, circle them down towards your sides. Inhale again, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower the arms down towards the side of your body. One last time, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, release them down by the side. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Drop in and breathe. Namaste.